Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. You can follow me on X Twitter at Movies TV Mad and on Instagram and on Threads at Movies TV Mad X. A very warm welcome back to the Movies TV Mad Daily. Before we get into a discussion about 2019's Joker and why it made $1 billion and how Hamada tried to sink the movie, which he did, and I'll get into that very shortly, let's give you some DC Universe updates. Well, there's only one DC Universe update. It's a small one. It's not an exciting one, but we'll talk about it anyway. So James Gunn said he purposely finished shooting Superman a year before release, so they had a year to work on post-production. But he went further on Threads as a fan was questioning him about this very subject. He started praising the Superman VFX team. This is a very refreshing move from a Hollywood director because we know how badly VFX artists are treated in Hollywood. Their schedules, their pay are terrible, and they're rushed to do work. When you see bad VFX and bad CGI, it's not on the VFX artists, it's on the schedule. As I say, they're treated like slaves, but James Gunn was being accused of the same kind of treatment. And he said, obviously, you're not educated about me. Go and look at my movies. And, I respect VFX artists, which he does. And if you see his movies, his Guardians trilogy, the Suicide Squad, and even Peacemaker, everything looks great because they're not rushed. Obviously, there's a schedule, but they're treated with respect. Gunn treats everyone who works with him with respect. He's not that type of director. He's very well loved by the people who work with him. There is a contingent in Hollywood that don't like him. It is interesting, if you think about it, that he's recruited a male to direct Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, but obviously he got a woman to write the screenplay and the script. So it's a good balance there. If you think that only women can tell female stories, then you're getting a female to write them. So that's interesting from James Gunn as well. So he's supporting VFX artists and he's bigging up the Superman VFX artist as well, which is really good. And Todd Phillips, a director we're about to talk about, has praised Deadpool and Wolverine, congratulated the movie for making $1 billion because before Deadpool and Wolverine, Joker was the highest grossing global movie, making just over $1 billion. What I don't know is Joker still in the lead? Because yes, it's made more money. Deadpool Wolverine has made more money than Joker did. But Joker was a lot cheaper to make. So its profitability may still be higher than Deadpool and Wolverine. So it's a very good place to be as a director. You've got an upcoming movie with Joker Folie à Deux, and you're praising a movie that the fans love. It gives you an opportunity to grab that audience with some goodwill. So that's really good from Todd Phillips. How did 2019's Joker make $1 billion? How did it become successful? First of all, it's a damn good movie. It's a unique CBM. It's a very different type of CBM. When Joker was announced, we were all very surprised that the guy who directed the Hangover trilogy was doing a DC movie, let alone a movie about the Joker. Then there was a huge revelation that Jared Leto, who was pretty much the DCEU's Joker at the time, wouldn't be Todd Phillips' Joker. Shock horror, it was going to be Joaquin Phoenix, and that was a huge shock. Joaquin Phoenix, a critically acclaimed actor doing a comic book movie, was a shock. And he was playing the Joker. As soon as he was announced, I knew it was going to be a great movie because Joaquin Phoenix is a special actor and a special guy. He isn't easy to work with. He's an artiste. He's no more easier to work with than Jared Leto. They take their art seriously and they go through certain levels that can be difficult for everyone else around them. We heard that he was having a go at a few people because he was stressed, he lost a lot of weight. That's understandable. So Joaquin Phoenix's casting as the Joker was shocking. But it quickly became apparent as we got some on-set photos and then with the first teaser trailer that this wasn't going to be any ordinary Joker. It wasn't going to be a typical villainous Joker. This was a man suffering with mental health issues that suddenly becomes the Joker. This is a man looking after his mother, with the revelation that his mother allowed him to be abused as a child. This was a film where the Joker would see certain things that actually weren't happening, because the whole thing is that with the Joker, and it's always been said in the comics, that he's not a good narrator. You can't trust what he's telling you. And Todd Phillips, a guy who knew jack shit about DC and Joker, did his research about the original idea for Joker, the character, the man who laughs, and all of that. So he did his research. He really understands the Joker because he got educated about the character, which is really, really important. But DC film president Walter Hamada at the time didn't think commissioning the Joker movie was a good idea, and he didn't want to do it. Now we know this because Todd Phillips came out and said it during the marketing campaign for 2019's Joker, which was a very, very interesting revelation. Also, WB did a deal where another company partly funded Joker, which means when the profits came in, WB didn't make as much money because they had to share the profits with this other production company. Basically, Hamada had no faith in Joker. And what it ended up doing, the success of Joker, was making him have egg on his face. I believe that it was Hamada who was getting lots of people to come out and shit on Joker in terms of woke Hollywood and woke journalists being triggered by basically a character like Joker being deemed as sympathetic because he has mental health issues. So the alt-left were not happy about that situation and started to shit on the movie. All of a sudden, journalists started to tell you, the public, that it was dangerous to go and see Joker. You could end up shot and killed because of lunatics being inspired to go and watch the movie. So where did that come from? That you would be in you'd be in danger if you went to see Joker. It had to come from somewhere. And for me, it must have been an initiative from Walter Hamada. Allegedly. I can't prove it, by the way. But him and his team, certain elements of WB, certainly wanted Joker to fail. Because it was there all to be seen that they had shared the investment, which means they didn't have faith in the movie. So if the movie was successful, as I said earlier, they were going to look fucking stupid. And ultimately, Walter Hamada and his people looked fucking stupid. He just produced Shazam that barely made $300 million at the global box office, which made him look even more stupid. They were going down this bright colours and inspirational vibe, weren't they? I mean, the first Shazam's a great movie, don't get me wrong. But if it wasn't for the fact that it was a cheaply made movie, it wouldn't have made a profit. That is the truth of the situation. So Hamada was made to look fucking stupid. I believe that's why he was desperate to tank the movie. The same old WB tactics like they were trying with Zack Snyder, if you remember rightly. But Joker was a success. And I think partially the $1 billion global box office, the reasons for that was because of the, oh my God, it's problematic. Oh my God, if you go and watch it, you could get shot and killed. If you tell people not to do something, what are they going to do? Go and do it anyway. So the more access media were telling people, ooh, it's very, very dangerous to go and see this movie. You could be shot and killed if you go and see this movie. What did the public do? What did the global audience do? Fuck you, I want to see this movie. Joaquin Phoenix is playing Joker. He's even got an original name, Arthur Fleck. Bat Fleck. Remember that? We all kind of thought there was a connection. Ben Affleck. I mean, I think Phillips took Arthur Fleck from Ben Affleck. No question. He was playing games there. There was never a moment where Todd Phillips considered casting Jared Leto. You wouldn't. He wrote Joker. He wrote Arthur Fleck. with Joaquin Phoenix in mind, and Phoenix won an Oscar for the performance. Sadly, Todd Phillips didn't win the Oscar for Best Director, and he didn't win Best Film, which was wrong, but the Oscars were never going to give that movie the credit it deserved for political reasons. They didn't like the mentality behind the movie. Of course, Todd Phillips started talking about how woke comedy has become and that you should be able to joke about anything. And then Taika Waititi, whatever his name is, that director, the MCU director, who we've already seen kind of probably going to have some involvement in DC Universe, all James Gunn's Marvel kind of friends will. He made fun of Todd Phillips. Again, that politics, that not being able to agree to disagree. So Todd Phillips was getting quite mocked by the extreme left. But as usual with woke Hollywood and the extreme left, everything they try and do, everything they try and destroy, ends up the other way for them. They're not very, very clever people. They did everything they could to tank Joker. In the end, they motivated the movie to get $1 billion. Because the truth is, nobody really likes the extreme left. Nobody really likes woke entertainment, woke Hollywood, woke journalism. So the more you tell us not to do something, the more you tell us to do something, we will go the opposite way. Fundamentally, I was shocked that the Joker made $1 billion. The box office was looking good. There's no question there was a lot of interest in that movie because Joaquin Phoenix was in it. The trailers came out very, very positively. People liked what they were seeing. But to make $1 billion, there had to have been an extra factor. And as I said earlier, it was the most profitable CBM of all time. Now, I don't know the profitability of Deadpool and Wolverine because I don't know the budget of that movie, and budgets are important. It's all right bragging about $1 billion or over $1 billion in Deadpool and Wolverine's case box office, but how much did you actually spend in the movie? I think Joker cost around 80 to 90 million. So that was a very cheaply made movie because it's an acting movie. It doesn't need CGI, it doesn't need computers, it doesn't need VFX artists, it just needs an editor, basically, or a bunch of editors. So it made a lot of money. It was a great win for WB. It wasn't a great win for WB because they had no faith in the movie and they ended up with egg on their faces. It's going to be interesting this time when Todd Phillips talks about it. Are they sharing the cost with Joker Folia do with another company, the same company again? Do they have to do that because they did the same deal before? I don't know how it works, but that, my friends, actually wouldn't surprise me. So watch this space to find out more about that. So the big question is, can Joker Folia do repeat the success of Joker? Somebody asked me this on X Twitter. It's going to be very, very difficult to repeat the over $1 billion box office that Joker made in 2019. But why, Mick? Well, there probably won't be as much controversy about the film. There won't be the kind of shitting on it that encouraged people to go and see it. Also, the musical element is going to be off-putting to some. I think it's sad that a film having songs in it puts people off. But there you are. We're not in the 1920s. We're not in the 1930s where musicals are a thing. You could think about The Wizard of Oz and huge movies like that. Musicals are not fashionable, but musicals have made money. But when you're going to make a CBM and you're making it into a little bit of a musical, it's not totally a musical, to be honest, I think that can be off-putting. So it will be interesting if this movie can repeat the success of the first film. But even if it was to make 500 million, 800 million, it's still going to be a win for WB because it's, as I say, it's not a big budgeted movie. It's going to cost around maybe a little bit more this time, about 120 million, I would think, because Lady Gaga and Joaquin Phoenix ain't cheap. And now you've got two stars of a movie. Although they did have Robert De Niro, but Robert De Niro's role in the first film wasn't huge, but his screen time on the movie was very important, considering that Phillips brought a taxi driver kind of vibe to 2019's Joker. But, you know, Lady Gaga is a superstar. She's not just a pop star, she's a superstar, so she wouldn't have come cheap. But Todd Phillips wanted her as Harley Quinn. Now, as far as I know, they're not really going to go with the word Harley Quinn. They're going to go with the name Quinn, which is very, very interesting. So, we've seen some of the trailers. We've seen what she's all about. The rumours are that she's going to be more brutal, ruthless, and dangerous, and darker than the Joker himself. So, I think, you know, I think this is her movie. I told you before that Phillips was looking to do a villain story, a DC dark, you know, Black Label villain story. And I said it before and I say it again, this is Harley Quinn's story, which is interesting because they brought Joaquin Phoenix back. He's there. I think he's going to be in every scene. So he plays as big a role, if not bigger, than she does. But I still believe it's her movie. I still believe it's Harley Quinn's story, even though we're continuing the story of Arthur Fleck's Joker. Because, yeah, it's a joint movie. Definitely. I mean, it's interesting. I'm wondering why they called it Joker Folie à Deux and why not Harley and the Joker. Why? Because if you call it Harley and the Joker, you're definitely going to drag lots of people in, lots of DC fans. It's definitely going to make $1 billion just by calling it Harley and the Joker. That's why Suicide Squad, the first one, made so much money, because Harley and the Joker were together in live action for the first time. So I remember the hype over that at the time. It was very, very exciting. So I'm surprised about that. But considering they're not really calling her Harley and they're calling her Quinn, I mean, you could have gone with Quinn and the Joker. People still would have known. But calling it Harley and the Joker is an excuse to print money. Clearly, Todd Phillips didn't want to go down that direction. So, yeah, I think she is dangerous from what the reports tell me. She is no shrinking violet. She's going to be violent. She's going to be dangerous. And we've seen nothing yet about that movie. We've seen clips, we've seen trailers. But from what I've been told, those trailers give nothing away. So it's difficult for Joker 2, Joker Folie à Deux to make as much money as the first film. But I don't believe it's impossible or improbable, because there is interest in this movie. Without a doubt that people are excited for this movie. We've got Penguin, which is the streaming series coming out in September on Max. That's exciting. So I think this is a great year for DC. Everyone's saying, well, there's no DC movies. We've got Joker, Folie à Deux, and we've got a Penguin series continuing. Basically, it's a sequel of Matt Reeves' The Batman. That's two brilliant things. And then we got Creature Commandos. I'm less excited about it now since I saw the trailer, but hopefully it's the thing I was excited to see from the very beginning. That's free. That's three things from DC, right? Creature Commandos, The Penguin, and Joker Folie à Deux, a film that is highly anticipated. But how anticipated this movie is interesting. There are corners of fans who believe Joker should never have got a sequel. It should have been a standalone movie. And I understand that, but this is Hollywood, baby. This is how it works. This is the sequel capital and franchise and IP capital of the world. I'm surprised that Phillips and Phoenix agreed to do a sequel, because as far as I know, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Joaquin Phoenix has never done a sequel in his life. So it's very interesting that he came back to do more. But we've discussed this before. I don't think that James Gunn wants more Joker movies. I don't think James Gunn, after the Batman 2, wants more Matt Reeves' Elseworld, the Batman movies. He doesn't. He wants one franchise. You can't have two Batmen. It's confusing. We've also discussed that before. So it's going to be interesting if Joker Folie à Deux is successful. And I mean over $1 billion successful like the first film. Because that means Phillips will get another movie. And there's nothing that Gunn can do about it, because Zaslav is in a precarious situation. WB Discovery are in a precarious situation. They need to bring in money. And if Joker does really, really well, if Joker Follow Your Dude does really, really well, there's no way they're going to listen to Gunn and not make another movie. And Todd Phillips will not be interested in a streaming show, so Zaslav can get that thought out of his head straight away. So it's interesting. I would think that Gunn doesn't want this film to be successful. He doesn't want any more. But he's smart enough to understand that this is a hugely anticipated movie. So, yeah, I'm excited for Joker Follow Your Do. I loved the first film. I saw it, couldn't believe what I was seeing. The links to mental illness and what they can do to people and the damage that they can cause our society were interesting. Of course, woke Hollywood, the extreme left, I mean, they've got a name for people like Arthur Fleck, and I forgot it now. But they tried the same old jazz with Matt Reeves, the Riddler. Now, Matt Reeves is also extreme left, and he was trying to kind of do the same thing with that character. And so, in a way, I think there was kind of links to, like, the fandom menace and the kind of fans that they've got. If you look, that he's got streams going on and he's got people messaging him. And I think, yeah, Matt Reeves definitely was trying to say something there about YouTube, about the YouTube community, and because they don't like it, because all of a sudden the people have a voice and they can speak out against New Hollywood, and New Hollywood don't like that. So there was definitely a lot of people who didn't like Joaquin Phoenix Joker for political reasons, for extremist reasons, and they're all there. But the movie did well. There's something that New Hollywood and the woke mob don't like, that people want to see male leads. They like male leads, and it doesn't matter if you're gay, straight, whatever. People like to go and see male leads. That's why Top Gun Maverick made so much money. That's why Joker made so much money. It's just the natural order of things. People like that. And I don't know why, but I suppose audiences are not really used to going to see gay men or gay characters, but maybe that's just not interesting to the LGBTQ community. Maybe actually the wokies and New Hollywood have got it wrong, that everybody doesn't want to see themselves on the big screen. In fact, they want to see somebody else on the big screen. Maybe that's why Joker and Top Gun Maverick were so damn successful. Because you can't unsee it. We've just had that film with Ryan Reynolds' wife in it. A romantic comedy. She's attractive in it and the male lead's attractive. And people went to see it. It's made loads and loads of money. The natural order of things. People like these things. When you make these type of movies, people go in their droves, like Deadpool and Wolverine, right? Two vibrant, straight male leads. Attractive, straight male leads. And again, it isn't just the straight community supporting these movies. It has to be the LGBTQ community, because these movies are making too much money for there to be any other explanation. So unless Hollywood understand the natural order of things is the way to make money, they're going to keep on losing money, and they can't afford to keep on losing money because they're in a lot of trouble because of their crazy ideas. So, Joker 2019 is interesting because I do believe Hamada did attempt to sing the movie. We know he didn't like the idea of the movie, and he was wrong. He didn't do a good job as DC president. I wanted to believe he was the right person for the job at the beginning. I really wanted to believe as a DC fan he would do the right things. I wanted to believe that Jeff Johns and John Berg were going to do the right things. But they didn't. Shocking in terms of Jeff Johns, because once he got rid of Snyder, he could have kicked on. But their only lookout was to colour in these movies and make them hopeful. And that's not what prints money. It's not about just being colourful and hopeful. Said this the other day, they think that's what Superman 78 is. That's what they think the MCU is, but it's not. There's more to those films than just being colourful and hopeful, and maybe WB will never get that. So if there was an element of WB that didn't want Joker, then how was Todd Phillips able to get that movie greenlit? By the people who were still there from his Hangover trilogy days. There's no question there's an influential element there that is still there and still fighting for Todd Phillips. That's why I said it's not going to be easy for James Gunn to stop more Joker movies happening if Joker Folie à Deux is successful. So that's a point of interest for me as well. But yeah, there's no question Hamada tried to sink that movie. And after what we heard he said to Ray Fisher, it wouldn't surprise me. He left with his tail between his legs. Walter Hamada failed to make the DCEU successful. And he didn't just fail, he lost the company a lot of money. But in the entertainment industry, when you fail, you don't fail downwards, you fail upwards. Why? You'll have to ask them. Maybe that's why this industry is in so much trouble, boys and girls. But I am really, really excited for the Joker sequel. It looks like it's going to continue straight off from the first movie if you look at the trailers we've just seen. From what I'm hearing, a darker movie, a really dark Harley Quinn that's darker and more dangerous than our Joker, Arthur Fleck. And what's interesting, now this could be true or not, but Arthur could be the victim of the movie. Arthur could end up being the hero of the movie. Arthur Fleck may have to stop Harley Quinn by the end of the movie. Don't forget, she was inspired by him. Is he imagining a romance? Are they having a romance? Who knows? But I think you could have Joker versus Harley by the end of the movie. As I said earlier, we don't really know what this movie actually is. We know Harley's in it. We know it's Arthur's trial, partially. I think maybe she goes too far and Arthur doesn't like it. And I think she'll start to turn against him. Maybe she'll kill him by the end of the movie. So that's an interesting element as well, which could be utterly controversial. But these are the type of movies I like to support because they're from a writer-director's vision. There's something in it. There's a plan. It's artistic. It's inspired by older movies. It's an exciting thing to go and see rather than seeing the next CBM that's just there to hype you up with nostalgia bait just to take your money. Yes, Deadpool and Wolverine. Even though I think it's okay, I think it could have been better, and it's just there for nostalgia bait. Make no mistake about that. But people are loving it. Audiences are loving it. So I can't say anything about it. But Joker and Joker Folie à Deux, well, let's talk about Joker. Joker is a proper movie. It's a proper movie with a beginning, middle and ending. You can see what Phillips is trying to do with this movie. He's showing you how our society has fallen by the wayside. Now, he said he wasn't trying to make some huge social commentary with Joker, but he must be lying because the statement of the decline of the support for people suffering with mental illness is there in today's society. But he represents that. He sets it in the 80s, right? 70s or 80s Joker. But in reality, people suffering with mental illness are not supported. They're told, call someone. You don't have to be alone. But no one's willing to knock on their door and give them support. Mental illness is not a cold. You can't just go and get help if you're mentally ill. If you have an eating disorder, which is part of mental illness, right? You can't just start eating again. It's not that easy. I have some experience of that in my past and in my present. So I know how that works. All these things that go on in your head to convince you that of certain things when you're mentally unwell. And an eating disorder, when you eat, you feel ugly, you feel overweight. And it's because of the pressures, also the pressures that society put on us to look a certain way. So Joker had a lot of brilliant themes about mental illness and about rich and poor society. I wonder what this sequel will have to say about the society we live in today.